Hello, it's me, Tokkuri Yashi. How's everybody doing? Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And it is Kururu, the jewel bunny, and she is here. Been released into the game. So today we're going to be having a look at Kururu, having a look at her skills. We're going to have a look at where she fits in the game, what role she plays. Maybe talking a little bit about whether you should be summoning for her, although that is always very subjective to the amount of jewels you've got and the characters you've got in your account, but we'll maybe briefly touch over that. So let's jump over and have a look at her banner. Kururu obviously is a new character. This is her first appearance in the game. They are starting to release some of the new introduced characters, which is one reason why I did summon for her. As you see, we do have the Kururu character. If you haven't seen my summon video, we did it yesterday. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing that. Thank you everybody who turned up to watch that stream. Please go ahead and have a look. See how many it took me, how many multis it took me to get Kururu. We can see here that she is a permanent character though, here till the 26th, which leaves 4 days at the end of June for returning characters Hatsune and Kasumi New Year's, who I am expecting, a lot of us are expecting to be taking up that time zone. Then we're going to move into summer characters in July. Again, masterpieces here, as we've come to expect from a new character. Now, Kururu is being described as a tank/buffer character. Nobody's talking about her damage. I was expecting a AoE magical DPS to come along and help the Dream Park Mahu, who was the first character we got this month. I think that this Kururu can maybe have fulfilled that role, but if we have a look here at her stats, her hit points and our defensive stats, they're very good, but they're not quite your tank stats. Expect over 100k, maybe 150k hit points for a pure tank, 2k, maybe 2.5 for defense. So I would say she's more of a sub tank. Either way, I don't think it matters that much. She's still very capable of taking that slot 1 role, the front tanking role in your team. So let's jump across and see what she actually does then, and have a look at her skills in a little bit of detail. So here we have another handy image for Kururu. As you can see here, she is on the light team. She is a magical character and she sits in the mid guard at position 440. Now, as we can see here, if we scroll down a little bit, she does sit in front of Yori, Angel Yori, who is a character that we have been using quite a lot as the tank for a magical light team. So perhaps Kururu is going to replace Yori as the tank for a magical light team. Then again, they do have slightly different roles, so maybe they might work well together. We will have to see when we get some clown battle bosses coming out for this month, if one replaces the other or if they were going to work well together. So let's have a look at Kururu's skills. Okay, today we're going to start with Kururu's skill 2 because it is quite important in understanding her Unibase and her skill 1. As you can see here from her loop pattern, this skill 2 is the first action that she performs, and if I move my head out the way, there we go. It is also the only time that she performs skill 2. She doesn't have this skill 2 in a loop pattern, it's a one-time only skill. I'm returning the favour, which moderately increases your own physical defense and magical defense. As we can see here, that is a 311 to a magical and physical defense for the full 180 seconds of the battle. Also, each time you receive a status up effect, you will add a Kapakaban-kun token, which increases the magical attack power of all allies other than yourself by a small amount. As we can see there, for each token she has, 1k magical attack buff to all allies. As we can see here, that caps out at 40, which means a maximum of a 40,000 attack buff, magical attack buff to all allies permanently once she has received all of the buffs to max out her Kappa Kappa and Kun tokens. Now, it increases the magical attack power of allies, as we've said, by a small amount. The effects of this will be activated if the number of Kappa Kappa and Kuns is less than 40. I think that just means that it caps out at 40. And the effects of other skills will not be activated by this skill. I think what that means is for characters like Andrea and the Ceremonial Yuki, who, in the Ceremonial Yuki's case, receives buffs beauty tokens each time he gets a buff, will not be triggering that because they will just ping back from it one to the other, and I think it would build up too much and it would be a bit OP. So it's a bit of a backdoor break to stop some characters becoming broken. I think that's what that means there. As we can see, buffs include defense, attack, crit rate, crit damage, and TP. So any character on the team that puts one of those buffs onto Kururu will be giving her a Kappa Kappa and Kun token, which will be increasing the magical attack buff that she gives to the team. Okay, so now we've seen that, let's move on to Union Best Grand Dream Parade. This deals heavy magical damage to all enemies in front of you, moderately recovers your hit points, and becomes invincible for a short amount of time. This skill increases according to the number of Kappa Kappa and Kuns, the damage that is, and depending on the amount of Kappa Kappa and Kun tokens she has, it has different effects. So let's go over here. It's about 76,000 magical damage to all enemies, which is 2.4 times her magical attack stat plus 3% of the Kappa Kappa and Kun stacks. 3 times damage if it crits. If she has between 20 and 39 Kappa Kappa and Kun tokens on it, this attack becomes a guaranteed crit. And if she is fully built up with the 40, she also gives an additional 15% magical crit damage buff to all allies, as well as restoring just under 16,000 hit points to self and applying an invulnerability to herself for 4 seconds. So she's got potential here to do good damage, as well as giving buffs to the team, and in a tanking role, giving herself some hit points back and making herself invulnerable. So I think this is actually a very good Union Best, and it has got a lot of utility in it. So let's move over then finally to her skill 1, Bagman Security Guard Mode, which is, as you can see here on her loop pattern, the only skill she does when she reaches the loop pattern. I think the loop pattern's quite good. This shifts focus to the nearest enemy target, deals medium magical damage to all enemies in range. Now, unlike the Union Base, which is all enemies for damage, this is a 300 range, centered on the enemy character in front of you, as we said there. Slightly recovers your hit points and also creates a physical and magical absorption barrier. Damage of this skill also increases with these Kappa Kappa Kun tokens. So it's 47, nearly 48,000 magical damage to enemies within that 300 range, 2 times damage if it crits, 1.5 times their magical attack plus 1.9% of the Kappa Kappa Kun tokens. This barrier is only for her. If it was for the whole team, it would be a little crazy. It doesn't absorb as much damage as the big team barriers though, 6,220. But that's still pretty decent. And as we can see, the scub is firing off pretty regularly, so you would expect this barrier to be up most of the time. And again, just shy of 10,000 hit points regenerated to herself. This gives her again a very good skill for tanking and potential to do a lot of damage. So let's have a look at where she fits in the game and do a little bit of testing to see what kind of damage she can maybe put out. So from her skills, we can see that Kururu has got some very good tanking capabilities there, raising her defense, putting up a damage nullification barrier, and healing herself. She's also a very good buffer for the team, magical attack buff 40k when fully built up, which is a huge number. But nobody's really talking much about her damage. Now I think she has got potential to do a lot of damage. It's what the Dream Pack Mahu needed, a AoE magical character on light. And she has got the 3 times crit damage, 2 times on a skill 1. If she crits, the Union base can be guaranteed crit if these Kabu Kaboon Kun tokens are up to at least 20, which isn't that many. Maxes out at 40. So I have ran Kururu in a few test fights against the test gargoyle we've got here. As we can see here on the right, it's the AoE magical damage dealing one that we have fought. A couple of light teams here, and as you can see, Kururu is doing a great amount of damage in there. She is keeping up with some of the bigger damaging characters there on the teams. On the other side, on the left side of the screen, we have got the same team versus the magical damaging AoE test boss and the physical damaging test boss, and again Kururu is right up there at the top doing a lot of damage. I think her damage is probably a little bit underrated. I would put her in the category of characters like Ceremonial Ilya, like Warlock Jita, like the Spring Suzume that we got last month, maybe even the Spring Kyoka, for the amount of damage that she can do, as well as supporting the team and performing the tanking role. So overall, I think she is a very, very good character. So from that damage that we saw there, it will be dependent on the boss that you're fighting and the team that you're in, but it does look like Kururu can deal out quite a lot of damage as well as other buffs. Where are we going to see her used in the game? It's already being used in the light 5-10 deep quests. If you could even get there, you're going to have to be pretty stacked on your account if you're even going to get past 410, as I've heard it is very difficult. But when you do finally get there, it would be nice to have her on your account to take down that boss. I expect she'll be using EX7. Another team could maybe build, if you have her, to take down that EX7 boss. In clan battle, I think she will be seen. I imagine the devs will have a multi-target boss that is weak to light in the next clan battle. I can imagine that's what they might do, seeing as they have released 2 AoE light characters this month. PvP, I'm maybe not quite so sure. Might be a little bit of utility in there, but I don't think that's really where she's going to be used. Summoning for this character though, well, it doesn't work very well with the Dream Pack Maho. So if you have her, maybe you want to have the Kururu as well. She will be, I think, a staple on AoE, light magical teams. Potentially she could work on single target ones too. I can't say that she really is a must pull, but she's a very good character. She does look like a very good character to have. You have to bear in mind though, the characters that are coming up soon, some of the characters are going to be very good. End of August pre-fest, probably going to be very good as well. So if you are low on jewels, maybe you should be focusing on them, checking which element in your account is the weakest, and if it's not light, which I don't suspect it would be, perhaps you should wait for that element to return. Probably going to be getting fire characters next month. So there we go, that is Kururu. Let me know what you think of her. Good luck to anybody who is going to summon for who hasn't done yet. And I'm Tokkuri Yashi. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all again for another video. Bye 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 bye. Hey!